Thank you for joining us. This is Health Your Own Way podcast, and I am your host, Mo Akins. Welcome to another episode. Today, we're going to be talking about connecting your soul to your inner self. My guest speaker today is Phoebe. She's a spiritual author and a meditation teacher. I really want to say thank you for joining me. I know that, I've looked on your website, I've searched you, and you seem to have a very good flow to yourself and a nice aura. So I'm really glad to have you on the show. Before I go further, anything you want to add to us or tell us about yourself?
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here too. Thank you very much for inviting me to be here. You said perfectly. Yes, so I'm a spiritual author, meditation teacher, and also life coach and energy healer. But I don't usually put that modality as service, but I connect these through my writings and through my meditation. So that's why I do all of that together.
That makes sense because if you it connect based on what I read about you, having that modality itself, I kind of connects to what you write. So it's nice to know that that's what you do, and you have some kind of thought process and some kind of teachings behind it. Because a lot of people write books and they have no idea what they're talking about. But sorry, Phoebe, just I think so. I think before we to delve into it, I know connecting your soul to your inner self is really a special conversation that we're gonna have for you. And for a lot of people that are watching us, what does that mean? Like, what to you does it mean to connect your soul to your inner self?
Yeah. So for me, I believe first of all that we have a soul. It's funny, you asked that question. I asked that question the other day to someone and I said, "Do you think you have a soul?" And they said no. And
Really?
it's a surprising answer, but there's actually quite a lot of people that don't believe that they have a soul. So the first is, yes, we have a soul. And when you're connecting with your soul, I believe that our soul is in two realms at once. So our soul exists in the unseen realm, so in the land of unconsciousness, and our soul is also with me right here present, speaking as Phoebe. So, when we're talking about aligning with soul, when we're talking about bringing our soul energy through from the unconscious into the consciousness, is what we're talking about. And once you're able to establish that connection, that's when our intuition speaks really clearly. That's when we are able to understand a lot more about our life path, and we've got complete clarity over our day because we're aligning ourselves into this sacred space of pure enlightenment, of this beautiful high vibrational frequency. That is our soul in the unseen realms. And when our soul is in this space, we also refer it to as our higher self. And so that's what essentially you're wanting to do. And this is why it's such an important part of your life, is to really connect with your higher self, to bring your soul into that alignment and into that space so that you can live from a place of love and peace and tranquility.
Okay. I heard a lot. I understood a lot. For people that may have not understood that, I think for me, I'm gonna maybe dumb it down for myself. Would it be more of like, a lot of people are not self-aware of themselves, right? Like a lot of people live just going day to day. Like just there's different parts of us and there's different layers, right? So it's more like making sure that you're in tune to yourself, that you're connecting yourself not only on a physical matter, but on a spiritual side and also on an emotional. So like for a lot of people that don't believe in souls per se, she's literally saying that there's different factors to your life that you need to connect to make yourself whole. Did I get it right?
Exactly.
Okay, good, good.
Definitely. And you're also, when you're aligning that element, it's bringing, it's essentially what well-being is. It's bringing your mind, body, and soul together as one. But realizing as well that, it's none of it actually really exists on a soul level. It's just that's our perceived reality of our mind and our body. But our soul is just this infinite love of energy.
Okay. With that said, like, a lot of people are watching or listening itself, and as a society, that's not something that's considered a norm. Like, don't get me wrong, it is there. Spiritual health is out there, but a lot of people don't embrace it. When you mention the fact that, a lot of people don't believe in their soul, like the terminology could be different for other people, but as a society, is it fair to say, or maybe is it something that society should more promote, or is it something that we ourselves should be looking to invest in and understand our inner self?
Yeah, definitely. So I think that as a society, we need to bring more awareness to it, because our soul, if we're not listening to our soul, if we're denying the voice of our soul, this is where mental health problems come from. This is where anxiety, this is from depression. And, both of these triggers the fact that our soul is having a really hard time being in this reality. So it's all about learning how to harmonize our emotional well-being. And that's what we need to bring more attention to. So like you said, it's all about the different language and the way that you deliver it. So in schools, we talk about how to self-love, how to love yourself. What does that actually mean? Like, imagine how different our world would be if we learned how to love ourselves.
I think you're right, because a lot of, even the current situation with the pandemic, a lot of people are like now searching for, something beyond themselves, right? Like, and they're trying to open up to different views or thought process, that because now everybody is home doing nothing. Well, maybe not in Australia where you are, but we're stuck here. Okay, in North America, we're stuck home. You get to experience life. We're stuck in our house. So I think it's fair to say at this point in time, and for the ones that aren't kind of on a lockdown, this is an opportunity for you to invest in yourself, and
Definitely.
I like, because it's really sad. And I think a lot of people are like, okay, well, we're listening to you, Phoebe, we hear what you're saying, but what are some misconceptions you've heard personally or you've seen out there that would prevent people from actually, taking that leap and trying to discover what their inner self is?
Well, I think that the biggest problems really are the distractions around us. We're forced into this mentality of survival, of 9 to 5, you have to work to survive, forgetting that we actually have to live. Like, for survival to happen, we need to connect with others. We need to experience love. We need to, go out there and express ourselves as we need. That's what's going to save us at the end of the day, not this 9 to 5, forced into this rat race. And so that, and in addition to the mass consumption, and pushing us to believe that these fickle vibrations is what's going to make us feel alive. And none of that's true. You get the most beauty and profound, feeling of love from another, from a connection with another. You can't buy that. And it's just different of training your mentality to understand that you have the power within to create love and peace and happiness. And we don't have to look outside ourselves. It's all about bringing it back to our internal self.
I like what you said, because when you said something, seeking love, or some kind of fulfillment outside as well as material, as you can tell, society is basically materialistic. I'm sorry, it is. Like you see, how many times you turn on TV and you see what you can get, what you can buy, and then a lot of people get into really bad relationships, but don't understand who they are, don't love
Yeah.
themselves. So I like when you said that, the misconceptions are out there. And a lot of people, look, what I'm trying to really say, and I think what people are saying is, it's not really about the soul per se. Like, you need to really understand who you are. You need to love yourself. You need to discover that. Because if you are seeking things beyond who you are, you're not well, it's not going to be good for you. You're not, it's not like you talk. Speak for me, Phoebe. Speak for me, Phoebe.
True. So, I think, especially if we're looking at self love, if you don't fill yourself up with love, if you don't love yourself, if you don't love your soul, you're going to be searching for that in everything around you, and you're never going to find it. Until you learn how to fill up yourself with your own love, you are never going to feel full. You're never going to feel satisfied. And that's why we always search outside, and we're pushed to think that all of these little things around us are going to provide us with that fulfillment. But it's false. It's not true. And so we're continuously being put into that cycle of what it is that we think we should be doing, forgetting that our soul will direct us and our soul will tell us what we need to do. And so that's why we have to come back, and we have to give that power to ourselves, and we have to connect with our intuition and learn how to really live the life according to what we want and not what we're told that we should want. And that's, I think, the big difference, is that we're living in a society where we've been given a set of guidelines and rules saying this is what you need to do, this is how you'll become happy, but that doesn't apply to everyone. And you've really got to go out there and learn on your own how you can do this to yourself.
Then for the people that are interested, how do they start? Like, where do you start? Because I sit there, unless you're really, you take the initiative. No, because I personally, me, I don't think I've actually took that initiative. I think talking to people like you,
Yeah.
or other people, like even starting a podcast, has made me look at different aspects of my life than I thought before. So back to my original question. How do we start? I'm sorry. You can't start a podcast like me. If you can't start a podcast, you need to find a different way. Sorry, Phoebe, go ahead.
So the simplest way, so there's three different ways. The first is through meditation.
Okay.
Meditation, you're connecting to your soul in another realm. And that's kind of why it really helps you perceive your reality the way that it truly is, which is that you're connected to everything, which is that you're this beautiful, energetic beam of divine light. So meditation really, really helps you to just clear that pathway. It helps you to remove all the noise in your head that's telling you what you should be doing or telling you, how you should behave. And you're able to really connect with your soul through that. And the more you meditate, the stronger your intuition becomes. So that's my number one is meditation. That's why I became a meditation teacher, because I believe in meditation so, so much. The second is through journaling. So these two elements combined, when we journal, we have a moment for our soul to express itself to us. We have time for our creativity to shine through and to really hear what it is that we need to know. So when we journal, we can also allow our intuition to really come forth and to be strengthened. And you can start asking these core seed questions. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I doing in this life? What is my purpose of my life? And it's those little simple questions that we need to start asking ourselves. No one else can answer that for you. You need to do that yourself. And so they're my two greatest tools of meditation, journaling. And then when you've got that quiet place, ask yourself those questions and then just allow those answers to come through to you.
I appreciate that. I think I've heard those two before, and a lot of people aren't aware of it. Like you hear about it, but you don't realize how beneficial it could be for you. And I think, as we mentioned earlier, you're an author, and you recently wrote a book called "Align with the Soul." I guess for me personally, why did you write it? Like, I want to understand your why, because I know, I just want to understand your why. Tell us, please.
So Align with Soul is all about, it's all about learning to connect with our soul in the unseen realm. So like we talked about before, because once you establish that connection with your soul, you're able to heal yourself. You're able to find your life purpose. You're able to understand the reasons why your life is flowing the way that it is or not flowing the way that it is. And it all comes back to giving that empowerment and strength to ourselves, which we get from the soul. So in my book, I talk about all the different spiritual tools and techniques and how to really strengthen that connection, and also how this applies to almost every area of your life. I think that it does apply to every area of your life, but I don't have enough time in that book to explain every single problem. But I go through a lot of different common problems that people face today. And the reason why I wrote this book is actually through my audience. So I connect a lot with my readers through my Instagram channel. And I noticed that a lot of the same questions kept resurfacing. And there'd be, how to deal with healing, how to deal with heartbreak, how to deal with grief. I can't make decisions. I don't have the confidence, all of these different things. So I compiled all the answers to this, and everything comes back to learning how to align with your soul. And once you learn how to align with your soul, you can master your life. You will really find the answer to everything that you need once you learn how to do that. And it's a powerful tool that you'll never forget. You only strengthen it. The more you work on it, the more you meditate, the more you journal, the more you practice honoring your soul, that just gets strengthened and you become more empowered, more confident, and more love.
I see the passion in your face when you talk. I see it. Like, I'm one of the reasons why I do the podcast is because I don't get to be exposed to a lot of things like this, and this is something all new to me. So I'm very open to it. I wanted a platform to inform people of this. Unless you're within the spiritual health industry, people are not aware of what's going on. So going back to what I was saying is, I like the fact that you're passionate about this, because it shows that it's your love. So you put a lot of love in the book, and this is you, like, it's not fake. Like, this is really what you enjoy doing. And I'm happy for you. For people that are interested in buying the book, or even looking up, or even following your journey, what's the best platform to reach you out on?
Yeah, sure. So my website's probably the best, because that's never going to change. It's www.phoebegarnsworthy.com. And then my other social channels, I'm found on all of them, but the one that I use the most is Instagram, and it's at lost_nowhere.
Okay. We'll have it there. And I think for a lot of people, what's next for Phoebe? Tell us, because you're an author. I think you've written more than 3 books, right? And congratulations on that.
Thank you. This is my 8th book now.
I felt bad saying 3. You wrote more than 8 books. That's an achievement. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So it's just the same. I'm always working on new books, new materials. I have a few online courses, meditation albums, and my next big project. So I'm always doing those 3 things, and I'm actually working on an oracle deck at the moment. So all different cards. So I can't wait for that one to come out.
Congratulations. With that said, is there anything else you want to add before we let you go?
No, I'm really happy to be here. If anything, I just want the listeners to really focus on learning how to connect with their own soul, like just asking the questions, like we said, but during this time of the lockdown that we've been in, it's forcing us to confront ourselves. And that's not a scary thing, but some people find it scary because they've never done that before. So it's about becoming comfortable with yourself, becoming comfortable with your own energy and your own presence, and be aware to everything around you as to how you can really step into your greatest version of yourself, whether that's through certain people, through certain environments, really focus on harmonizing that flow of your mind, body, and soul so that you can really embrace who it is that you really are.
I like that. I actually really enjoy this conversation.
Good.
Sometimes, you never know, but it's good to talk to people that make sense. Yeah, sorry, we're gonna edit that part out, but thank you. Phoebe, honestly, thank you for being on the show. I sincerely appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on here. I loved it.
We're glad to have you join us. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, share with anyone that needs to be empowered and inspired, and don't forget to join us next week for the next episode of Health Your Way Podcast. Have a good day, you guys.